So my game Operator 8 recently launched into a full release after it's been in early access for the past 2 and something years. And in that time, I updated the game a lot. I officially I pushed just under 50 updates to Steam, but each of those updates have a bunch of mini sort of updates inside of them. And so all in all, I've done thousands of updates in the game in the last 2 years or 3 years. And it's been a long journey to get here, all in all, right around 4 years to make the game. And I wanted to make this video to sort of just talk about it a little bit, share how the experience has been, how the game did, and what I would do differently in the future. This is the first time that I'm actually showing myself on camera. I am in a little Airbnb sort of thing. I'm on holiday at the moment. After the release, I just needed to take some time off, and so I booked this little thing in my hometown. And so I'm back here visiting the family and staying in a little place. Anyway, so this is not my usual setup. That's also why I'm using the webcam's audio for recording. So I hope it doesn't sound too bad, but I just have to use what I have at the moment. So not going to get into that too much, but I am on my laptop, so it's not going to be the best quality, but we make do. We use what we have. So with that said, let me talk about the game for a little bit, and let me share how the experience has been and what I would do differently, and what I've learned and what I would suggest to you. So the game released on a Tuesday, and I did this because people told me, well, not people, Google really told me that either a Tuesday or a Wednesday is the best day for release. And I released in November because, well, that's just how it worked out with the game being finished around this time. And you do have to stop at some point because otherwise you just keep adding to it and adding to it. So I set a hard deadline for myself to get the game out by the 12th of November. And that includes marketing, which is a whole nother thing. But let me actually talk about the game. So in terms of sales, the game has definitely underperformed significantly from what I expected. I had a large number of wish lists, over 10,000, and all I can say is that Steam is changing. It's very different from what it was a couple of years ago, and it's very difficult at the moment. So yeah, so I'm not going to share the exact specifics of my sales. I can tell you that it hasn't been what I expected it to be, what I needed it to be really, and what I wanted it to be. But the interesting thing is the feedback. So the game has 100% positive reviews, and it is right. I think it's on 29 reviews right now. So obviously that's good. Now, a few of those do come from the early access period, which is important to note. But the game does have a perfect score so far. I'm sure at some point I will get some negative reviews because it's a good game, but it's not the perfect game. It's not even a great game, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of things that I can do differently and can do better. But for what it is and for what the price is, I think it's a good game. And when you are on Steam, just making a good game is going to stand out from many of the others. But as I've unfortunately learned, it's not enough to make sales. Like I said, Steam is changing, and wish lists are changing as well. So my wish lists didn't convert, like at all. Now, this could be a factor of early access. I'm not exactly sure if that's the case, but it could also be a factor of Steam changing, and that's what I think it is. I think from what I've heard, early access doesn't affect your wishlist conversion, but my wishlist conversion has been basically non-existent. All of the sales come from new sales. And I got a little bit, well, not lucky, but a relatively big YouTuber called, I don't know how you say it, I think it's Obu Two Shoes or something like that, is like 130,000 subs. He played the game, which helped a little bit with visibility. But I did do a lot of marketing, indie marketing. I sent maybe around 300 emails out to influencers. I have my own press list. I have my own potential customer list. So all in all, I sent more than 1,000 emails out. And even with all of that effort, which is not something that I ever did in the past, it's still, it isn't what I need it to be. So it's an interesting landscape at the moment. Making a good game isn't enough. Making a great game, I don't know. I've never made one, but I don't think that would be enough either. I think what's happening is the niches and the genres are being pulled in directions where you have to sort of micro focus on something specifically and do that thing well. And be the thing. I think what's difficult is you have to be better than the game that you are sort of being inspired by, and that's very difficult because those games are always going to be good games. No one gets inspired by a bad game. Well, some people might, but you know what I mean. So it's a difficult thing, but I do think Steam is changing, and I think that to be competitive, you need to do something very well, and you do need to sort of limit your scope a lot, and this is what I plan to do in the future. So yes, I made some notes. The sales are underperforming. Wish lists are not converting almost at all. I don't know how wish lists are working at the moment, but I checked my stats and everything. The wish lists aren't even being sent out. So and I did ask Steam about it. They say it's normal. So it's not a technical issue. Things are changing. I'm not exactly sure how, but they are changing. The feedback has been excellent. And here is a mistake that I made that I am now learning not to do. And that is, don't use generative AI at all. So my game is not an AI game. It's extremely handcrafted. Though it's more than a 10-hour game to finish, and I handcrafted 4 levels. Well, technically 5, but not including the tutorial. But 4 levels that are exceptionally large and complicated. And it's not the best maps in the world or anything, but they are good. And all of these have textures and animations and scripts that intertwine, and you know what it is to make a game. It's a lot of work. And so, you know, having made all of that has been a lot of work. But what I mean with don't use AI is, specifically for me, I used a little bit of AI for marketing images. Looking back, this seems like a very stupid thing to do, but in the moment, when you have 1,000 things on your plate and you need to get all of it done, you do need to take shortcuts. But what I'm saying is, don't take the AI images shortcut. We all use AI for code. I don't think that's a secret. These tools are there for a reason, and they are helpful, and there's nothing wrong with using them. But using AI for anything more than sort of the engine of the game. I don't mean the actual engine. I just mean the power, the thing behind it, the back end. Using AI to help you with those kind of things, I think that's okay. But using front-facing AI things, I think, is a mistake. So in the future, I would rather pull out that $200 and have someone draw professional art for my Steam images, because at the end of the day, yes, you do have to spend a bit of money to do that stuff, but then, if that converts to sales, it is what it is. You have to spend money to make money, and I wish that I had spent it a bit more wisely, because it doesn't make sense to spend 4 years on a game where, if you calculate the time that you took, it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of time, and then not pay a couple of $100 for the thing that people see first when they look at that project. If you think about it like that, what I did was stupid. But you don't always think about things like that in the moment. But, lessons learned. Next time I am definitely not going to use AI art for that kind of stuff again. I think it's okay for prototyping, getting ideas, and just helping you in general. But front-facing AI doesn't work. People don't like it, and they don't want it, and that's fine. I have to say, people have been even with that, people have been nice. They haven't been nasty about it, or I'm talking about specifically in YouTube's comments and stuff like that. So it is good to see that people do want to support indies. and they do understand when indies make mistakes, and it happens. But if you can avoid that kind of stuff. So some things that I've learned is that Steam is changing. I'm not exactly sure how. Visuals on the Steam market page, the Steam page, is very important because that little capsule it's the most important thing in your game, really, if you think about it, if you are planning on releasing on Steam. Because if you can get Steam pushes a certain amount of traffic to you, so if you can get that traffic to convert, then it's going to be so valuable to have something that's good. And that's a mistake that I made. I just didn't have that. And to finish up, lastly, I just want to say, I don't think making long games makes sense. My first game was a multiplayer shooter, which took 2 years to make. And it actually did quite well in terms of sales. Then I didn't think so, but looking at it now, it actually did. My second game was a little platforming multiplayer game. It was kind of just something I did for fun, and it sold okay. And my third game was a large-scale medieval, sort of like a, if you can say, painkiller kind of game. And that one didn't sell well at all, and it took more than 2 years to make. It was silly. And now this game, Operator 8, all in all took 4 years. Now it's not full time. I mean, it's 4 years of part time, so it's not actually 4 years. And this one, it's performing better than the others, of course, but it's not where I need it to be either. So I think going forward, I have a few longer projects that I need to finish, but probably from 2026 onwards, I'm going to make games that take a couple of months to make. Because if you look at the sales that you get from big games as opposed to the sales from small games, let's say the small game sells 5 times less, but it took 80 times less time to make, then the math, it doesn't make sense to make large open scale games. It just doesn't. If you already have a following and you have a lot of people that sort of want to play your games and they can wait for your games, and you know that you're going to have people that buy your game, then that's different. But we don't. I mean, let's be honest, us indies, we don't have that. The audiences we try and build for ourselves here on YouTube or through marketing lists and stuff, they are minuscule compared to what the big companies have. So you have to sort of be realistic with yourself, and these are just things that I'm learning going forward. So yeah, those were the lessons that I learned. Those were my experiences with Steam in this last launch. Now, one final thing that I will say is the game didn't sell too well in terms of the first couple of days, but it has been very consistent, which is interesting because I didn't have that before. So what my hope is that Steam is changing in a way where they are promoting long tail sales, because to an indie that would be amazing. That's exactly what we need. If I can make, let's say, would you trade making $10,000 on day one or getting $50 for 2 years? I mean, it's an easy decision. So we all need that stability. So hopefully it continues selling, and hopefully, yeah, it will be a platform for me to build on. That's what it's all about, is just building for the future. But it was hard work. I'm tired. I'm taking a bit of a break, and from December on, I'll be back to making my other games. So yeah, like I said, it's the first time actually showing myself on camera. I didn't want to do a scripted video where I was sort of like robotic and talking about it. Just wanted to be a bit more natural, talk to the camera, and just let you guys know what my experience was and how I felt about it. So yeah, next month it's back to business. But for now, thanks for watching, and if you do try the game, thanks for trying the game. Let me know what you think. And yeah, it's a hard thing being an indie, but it's getting good feedback. I would have preferred money, to be honest, but getting good feedback does feel good as well. So that's always something to look forward to. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.